Hello, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Festo's Garage. Today I come out to start the Toyota Prius and I can't get into the car. It doesn't sense the locks. So what we want to do is we want to push this little button on the bottom of the keychain, just like this, and it'll slide the key out. So I've slid the key out the bottom of there, and I'm going to stick it in the hole. There we go. Alright, so now I'm in. And I want to see if the car's going to start. Now I notice I've got no dome light and nothing on the dash. And I suspect my battery may be dead in my key, so I'll put that in the slot. Nope, get nothing. Alright, to me that means I have a problem with my 12-volt battery. So let's go ahead and show you how to get to that now that the doors are locked. What you want to do is come right to the back door, and you want to unlock it and then get in through the back. So there's a little bit of a mess in this car, but we'll put both the seats down with the buttons that are right here on top of the seats. All right. And then we want to take this carrier thing out of the way. Now that we've done that, we need to climb to the back. And we'll undo both of these locks and pull up on this. And so from inside here, we can see there's a little cover. Pop that off, and we'll look up inside of here. It's kind of dark, but I'll tell you, the latch is right here. Behind this panel, so you'll feel up under here, and you should feel like a little spot you can push on. There it is. Pull it back towards you while you're pushing up on the hatch. There we go. All right, we've come around to the back of the car, and what we want to do is get to the battery that's underneath here. This is a 12-volt battery under there. So we'll take this out of the way, and this tray. So we'll take this tray out the way. And if we look behind there, we can see the battery. There it is, right down there. So what we're going to need is a 10mm socket, and probably a 10mm wrench and a 12mm wrench. Alright, I got my sockets and a couple wrenches. Also got me a multimeter. I'm gonna go ahead and check that battery. And it has basically 5.26 volts. That's it. So definitely she's bad. Needs to come out. So we'll start by disconnecting these plugs. Alright. I went ahead and unplugged all three of these. Right, I'm gonna take the top bolt off of here. It's 10mm. Alright. There's a bolt down here on this vent. It's a 10mm also. Alright, look up behind this. There's another 10mm right there that you can take out. Alright, next we need to take this 12 and this 12 out. Put those out of the way. This unit can move. Next step is to get to this 10 right here. And there's a 10 right there. You take both of them off to take this cover off. So we got that one loosened up. We should be able to wiggle it. And this piece will come completely out of the way. Now we got that out of the way, we can take the negative off. Now you have a choice when it comes to this. You can take it off right here, or you can take it off right back here on the back of the body. I take it off here because it's easier to get my ratchet in there, and then I'll change the cable out on the battery when it's outside the car. Alright, we've liberated this battery. Now let's take it over to the bench and we'll put this wire and these covers on the new battery. Alright, I got everything switched over to the new battery. We got my wire on there and it's nice and tight. So we're going to go ahead and put it back in the car now. Alright, so let's get this new battery put in. Get back on the road. Alright, we're in place. Negative cable back on. Next up, our bar thing back on. We put our 10mm nut back on the other side of the bar there. We're putting our 10mm bolt back in this hole down here. Alright, now you want that snug so it doesn't move around, but you don't want it so tight that you're going to dent the battery in or anything. So be careful with that. Alright, the next thing to do is to put this computer back in. We're not going to plug it in yet. Just going to put it back into place. Now, this is one thing to note. There's a little hole right here, and there's a little tab right here. This tab is bent down, needs to go in that hole, which will also line this up. So what you do is just kind of slide it in place and it'll align in there. So once this gets bolted down, that tab's actually going to go into that hole and hold this thing in place a little bit. We're going to put this vent back in place. Now remember, this silver tab went to the outside of the car and the wire went up under this little nub right there. So we'll stick it right back in the way it came out. Make sure that it goes together right here. You want to be careful that it's sealed all the way around. You'll know when it gets right because it'll slide right together and it'll look 10mm like that, like a bolt down here, and the 10mm for the side had a little point on it. Okay. Alright, now that we've attached all the bolts and all the devices, we can plug everything back in. So we'll start with that computer there, and we'll plug in this big plug. So I hit the button on the keychain and the alarm stopped going off. The last plug in now that we've got the alarm to stop going off. Alright, all the plugs are in. Let's go see if the car will start before we put everything else back together. Well, I noticed one thing's different. I got a dome light now. Okay, nothing the first time that I hit the button. So what that means to me is I need to hit it one more time. You should hear the relay in the back click a couple of times. Alright, there it goes. It went click, 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 click. Now it should start up. And let's see if it does. There we go. Start up. Running good. That's what you need to do if your 12-volt battery dies. So we'll simply throw the rest of this back together. Alright, once you got that in place, Just slide this cover right back down in place and put this back on. Now you'll notice it has two little pins on one side and one on the other, which line up directly with this hole, so you should be able to see which way it goes back in properly. Alright, once that's in, just put your covers back on. I mean, you see there's nothing to this job. Well, if you've watched the video to this point, I'd like to say thank you very much. If you found it entertaining or educational, please click the like button and the subscribe button if you haven't already. Well, until next time, GreggFesto out.